Hello, this is Benjamin Fulford speaking on October 31st, 2025. It's Halloween, which is really the Celtic New Year, and we are actually entering an age where it might become the actual New Year again because we're dealing with the end of a project that's been going on for thousands of years, and it could, end up with even the calendars being changed. But getting to the news, of course, the big thing on my radar was U.S. President Donald Trump visiting Japan and then going to Korea to meet the Chinese President Xi Jinping. Now, the first, let's talk about his visit to Japan. Basically, a good analogy is like he went to a Japanese hostess bar. When you go to a Japanese hostess bar, you sit around on the table with beautiful women who pour you drinks and flatter you. But then at the end of the evening, when you want to go home, you can't take any of them with you, and you get a big bill. And they say, next time, please come again, and maybe you get lucky, but your credit's maxed out, so bring cash. That's the summary of what happened in Japan. The only thing he came out with was a promise to plant 250 cherry trees in Washington, D.C. Now, the meeting in China was or in South Korea with Xi Jinping was a little bit more substantive. We actually had someone on the ground there, but basically all that happened was China agreed to postpone the cutoff of rare earth minerals and buy some soybeans and give the U.S. a year to make adjustments. So they used the metaphor of a big ship turning around. You can't just, eliminate $1 trillion trade deficit instantly with tariffs. It requires structural changes. But the structural changes that are required cannot be done with the U.S. government as it currently exists. And people need to understand that the collapse of the U.S. government means the end of a project that has been going on at least for several hundred years. The people who were in charge of the West basically had a long-term plan which involved destroying Russia and turning it into several, maybe 10 or so vassal states, then going and attacking China and dividing China into 5 warring states. And after that, they were going to set up a world government with its capital in Jerusalem, ruled by members of a single tribe who wanted to enslave the rest of humanity and kill most of them. And this project is grinding to a halt. They failed to destroy Russia. In fact, they lost in Ukraine. As you can see from this clip where the Russian flag is now flying where Vladimir Zelensky was bragging it would never fall. That war is basically over. Now, the Satanists who rule the United States still want to start another war. They're desperately trying to start a war with Venezuela. It's not working. They are being wound down, but clearly a civil war is still happening in the United States. Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence, wanted to find out if a foreign government was involved in the Charlie Kirk murder, and of course everyone knows that's Israel. And Kash Patel, who's married to an Israeli agent, tried to put the kibosh on that. So there's still a fight within the U.S. military-industrial complex against those who still want this project for Israel. And this wasn't about Jews or anything. This was about this plan of Albert Pike's to start a war between Muslims and Christians, and then at the end there would be the world rule under Lucifer or Satan. This whole project is coming to an end. That's what we're dealing with. Now, the other thing that people need to understand about the United States is that the government is bankrupt, and U.S. military paychecks are not being paid, and food stamps will not be paid. And this is actually a good thing because we don't want the current U.S. military to continue the way it is. It's not functional. For example, when Donald Trump came to Japan, he went on board the USS Washington, the aircraft carrier. Well, what happened to the Vincent Carl, whatever it was, that was sent to Yemen? I guess it never went back. They lost 3 aircraft carriers because they are obsolete. They are expensive white elephants with no military value, and a real military would instantly scrap them and turn them into drones and stuff. But so we need much more fundamental change than business as usual. And our group is proposing, an Anglo-Saxon takeover of Canada and the United States to build a new capital somewhere in the central North America, which would no longer be a Zionist slave state, but actually working on behalf of the people. And if we don't do that, no matter what we try, China's going to keep out-competing us. They just announced their 5-year plan, and if you read the details, their government is trying to make things better for the people, the average people. That's what the most intelligent people in that country do. They figure, where do we all want to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now? How do we get there? And what do we have in the West? We have a bunch of Satanists who murdered their way into control of the major corporations, who are impoverishing the people, and have been since the 1970s, to finance their project to turn Jerusalem into a world capital for Satanists. And this has nothing to do with the Jews, okay? These people aren't Jews, let's get that clear. But they are Satanists, and there's a battle still going on. There's about 1 million of them in the United States, and they're fighting tooth and nail for control. And we have to fight them. Listen to Candace Owens talk about Charlie Kirk here.
Allow me to be very explicit, okay? I want war with all of you, okay? All of you. And there's a reason. I'm going to get to that reason in a little bit, but I want war with all of you. So write your articles, issue your statements, email the White House, reach out for comment, okay? Say whatever it is you want to say about me. I want war with all of you. Because I know this isn't right. And there is no way you are going to convince me and the rest of the world that all of this is normal. We're not just going to keep on going and jump into a succession plan. We're going to figure out what the hell happened on September 10th first.
That's the sentiment that is held by many people in the military and the agents. We have her back. We're not going to let them murder their way out of this one. We really do need a fundamental change. And people need to understand that when the Soviet Union fell, okay, this didn't mean the end of Russia, okay? The Soviet Union was a plan to create a world communist empire, and it fell. But now the Russian people are back to their Christian roots. They're richer and stronger than ever before. The same thing is going to happen to the United States. They're going to be liberated from Babylonian debt slavery, and they're going to start, once again, to have a government that actually works for the people and represents the people, not a group of Satanists. This is what we're fighting for. This is why we need to keep this fight going. And there will be turbulence as the old system collapses, but it's going to be a very good thing because there will be a jubilee. Americans will be freed from debt slavery, and all the money that was stolen from them from central bank fraud will be returned. And once again, the West will be able to outcompete or at least rival China on an equal basis, which is the end game. So hang in there, folks. It's going to be a rough ride, but humanity will be liberated, and this Zionist nightmare is going to end. Okay, well, that's what I have to say for myself this week. Now I'd like to answer questions from readers and viewers. Oh, wait, one more thing. Take a look at this clip of Xi Jinping and Donald Trump.
Hello, everyone.
Mr. President, the President of the People's Republic of China.
Good to meet you. Great pleasure to see you again.
Good to see you again.
Me too.
And we're going to have a very successful meeting, I have no doubt.
我肯定我们今天会有非常成功的会议。
But he's a very tough negotiator. That's not good.
但是他是很强硬的谈判者哦，这不好。
We know each other well.
我们相互之间非常了解。
Mr. President, do you plan to sign a trade deal today?
Could be.
有可能，
I think we'll have a great understanding.
但是我们会达成很好的
We
理
have a
解。
great relationship. We've always had a great relationship.
我们之间的关系很好，关系总是很好。
我们之间的关系。
那问他是不是还在会买美国的大众？
Will you discuss Taiwan, sir?
他们在下面问题。
Which way?
Right, one second, thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Please.
Wait, nobody else is going to the meeting. Nobody else.
We've confirmed that Xi Jinping is about 5'9" by looking at a picture of him standing next to Boris Johnson. So what we have here is what I've been told by my CIA source who was at the meeting, that there was a white hat avatar of Donald Trump who probably met an avatar of Xi Jinping. But nonetheless, they both represent U.S. government power. But the point is that the white hats are on the case, and hang in there, folks, because we are going to win this. Okay, now I'd like to answer questions from readers and viewers.
Evan, we have our first question for today. It says, I just heard that Anna von Reitz was summoned to the World Court to do a presentation at The Hague about the existence for the fake U.S. corporate government and how she has been the sole fiduciary of the lawful and solvent American government. What do you know about this, and is it real, and is it a true step to coming back to American governments?
I've talked to Anna von Reitz before, and I agree with a lot of what she says. And I know that she has some powerful military backing, and I support her work. We do need to end the fraudulent slave system that we currently have. Basically, right now, when someone is born in North America, they're issued a slave identification number or a social security number, and a bond backed by that person's lifetime of slave labor is issued. And that's what's called a birth certificate. So we are slaves, and her work will help liberate us from this slavery, and I wish her the best. Next question.
Hi, Ben. With the revelation of China buying so much land around our military bases, is it possible they're doing this to protect themselves? Are they really buying the lands to encroach upon our national security? Or are they trying to protect themselves against us, as we've been revealed as having so many adverse activities around the world? Thank you for your opinion on this.
I don't have inside information, but my best guess is what's been happening is that the people who control the military-industrial complex, in order to keep getting money from China, have been selling anything and everything they can. They've sold them all the face recognition technology that the Chinese are now using. They're selling them intelligence on American people. And it wouldn't surprise me if they sold them land around U.S. military bases, as a way to keep their own show going. But I know I've studied China for, 40 years. I've lived in Asia for about the same amount of time. And I know that what they're looking for is not conquest, but some sort of intermarriage. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. But definitely the U.S. military should make sure that there's no Chinese military around their bases in North America. That's just common sense. Next question.
Hi, Ben. How can there be a jubilee for debt without removing all of the deep state criminals when every country carries out forensic audits and exposes the fraud and corruption, removing all the crooks and cheating people? Only then a reset can take place. No point rewarding deep state criminals with a reset. Otherwise, wouldn't they be able to just climb back up to where they are currently?
I actually agree completely with that. We need war crimes tribunals, and every politician who's been blackmailed with a video of them torturing and killing a child, which is basically what we have to do in order to become a leader in the West in these days, needs to be removed, and they need to face war crimes tribunals. There's no other way around this. We can't just have a jubilee and then put the same people in charge. although some may be, able to go through truth and reconciliation, depending on the circumstances, because, a lot of talented people are needed and were dragged reluctantly into this blackmail network. So I don't think we want to get all of them, but we certainly want to get the main bad actors and make sure they're never in a position of control over corporations or governments or our money supply ever again. Next question.
Hi, Ben. Is Hurricane Melissa that is supposed to obliterate Jamaica a weather warfare weapon? And if so, why target Jamaica?
Well, I have to look into that, but my initial assessment is that this is yet another use of weather warfare for real estate redevelopment. Basically, they wanted to get all those black people out of their slums in Jamaica so they could build some kind of, resort. And, this sort of thing has to be stopped. So we'll find out when we see who's planning to redevelop after that and where the money's coming from. But I'm pretty sure the trail will lead to Black Rock, Vanguard, and State Street. And the U.S. military needs to nationalize those ASAP and remove people like Larry Fink from control over our corporations and places like Google and Amazon and everything else. They need to be removed from control of corporations, and they need to have that weather warfare capability taken away from them. And that may mean we have to send troops to Antarctica. Next question.
Hi, Ben. We have our last question for today. It's been a long time since the last World War. Do you think with all of the global events occurring recently that we are due for another one?
Well, we're actually in the middle of a world war. I noticed that they just blew up a oil facility in Hungary because they're buying oil from Russia, and they blew up a big oil facility in California. There's sabotage going on in places like Mali where they're fighting over gold, and it's not a world war like we saw in the past because it involves information, it involves assassinations, it involves special forces, but it's happening all over the world, places like Afghanistan and Pakistan, or you name it. So we are in the middle of World War, but I'm pretty sure that they're not going to, the military at the highest level have agreed, that means the Russians, the Chinese, the Americans, they're not going to allow a nuclear Armageddon, and we're not going to see like World War II, like millions of troops on the ground facing each other. The closest we got to that was Ukraine, and that's pretty well over now. So I think the hybrid World War III that we are in now is coming to an end. Okay, well, that's what I have to say for myself this week, and I hope to see you again next week.